Hello, Nigeria. There's no better place to be, so don't you ever change that dial. What's up, everybody? It's Kabam Zasukwa, and you're watching Hello, Nigeria.
Welcome back to Hello Nigeria. We have our guest in the studio. Now it's time for us to discuss our top story. The world is going green. Everybody is talking about renewable energy. And today in the studio, we're looking at how to create sustainable development through renewable energy. We have an expert in the house to help us with this. He is a co-founder of SME Funds and recipient of the World Youth Leaders Award. He's a renewable energy senator, a conference speaker, IT visionary, business and social entrepreneur. Through his leadership, he developed the social marketing platform CCN to deploy millions of clean technologies, cook stoves, energy efficiency, and solar PV system in a bid to bring an end to kerosene generation by the year 2020. This is 2017. We have 3 more years to go. Is that dream a reality? No better person to answer the question than our guest himself, Femi Oye. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Holly, for having me. Thank you for
So like I said, 2020, you want to bring an end to the kerosene generation.
Absolutely.
There's still many homes that are using stoves. This is 2017. We have 3 more years
Firewood.
to go. Do you think, yes, we still have people using firewood and coal. Do you think that you might want to shift that deadline a little more, or is it something achievable in the next 3 years?
Yeah, Holly, thank you. We have to put that in a context. Because we came out of the Stone Age, does not necessarily mean that we don't have stones all around us anymore. However, we believe in the ideology and in the philosophy that for us to have a more sustainable, healthy, and equitable world in the future, we need to begin to say goodbye to what seems not to be working. So dirty fields, the brown economy, it's all dead and gone. So what we announced as at the time we made that announcement was actually to switch about 1 million homes out of using firewood, charcoal, kerosene, and pretty well we've been achieving that. But we believe that in getting into that future that we want to see, we need this collective effort. So government needs to resonate and sound promising with confidence and with courage, because that's the only way we can achieve that. But I know very soon we're going to achieve it.
You know, in this part of the world, change is very hard to come by. You have people saying, you know, we've been using this for generations, or people have come with the grammar. I remember you speaking at the just concluded Edge series. You mentioned your grandmother, who you love so much, but passed on due to exposure to carcinogenics from cooking with dirty fuels, firewood and oil. And you've won so many awards and global recognition for the clean energy, the cooking stoves and all of that. How easy was it for people to accept this new technology and change their ways? And how convincing was it?
It's pretty been very difficult, I must say. It's very easy for you to destroy than to build. And with human nature, we don't like the change. And the change is imminent. The change is something that just have to come. So when something seems not to be working, I've said it, we need to change it. And as social entrepreneur, our message and our campaign has been both local and international to see how we can provide an alternative to the people. So if we have a kind of fuel that is creating more injustice, we see what is going on in the Niger Delta region. Yeah. We see even what happened in our homes when we raised down our homes due to fire incident of unsustainable dirty fields, not to talk about the impact on our health. So, but we need to find the nexus between how much would this cost embracing the future as to the
sticking with the old ways.
Sticking to the norm, to what we're used to. People don't want to change, and that is why globally what we've seen is drop dirty fuel, Nigeria, stop exploration. However, what are the alternatives? And that's exactly what my organization has focused on over the years, to showing to people that we're not just asking you to stop cooking with fire, we're cutting down trees, but then we now have alternative that is eco-friendly, sustainable, and is also the natural resource in our
now,
environment.
Before we talk about your organization, let's talk about these alternatives. And what are the alternatives? And why should people give up the current ones they're using? Now, there are certain people that are still educated, but don't understand why we need to stop cooking with stove firewood, why we need to stop oil exploration.
Absolutely.
You know, as much as we keep preaching it, there's still certain people that if we go on the streets of Lagos today and ask them, you know, they will tell you it's important to use firewood because when you cook jollof rice, it gives you that Nigerian jollof taste, you know, has a feel to it. So,
and also the oil exploration you mentioned, it's our #1 foreign exchange earner. And then you're saying, you know, just last week, the federal government sent a delegation. They've suspended oil exploration in the Chad Basin for the meantime, based on security reasons, not based on what you and a lot of experts in the field are advising them.
So why should we stop this? And what are the other alternatives?
So the obvious reality is when we say something is unsustainable, if there is need for what we call sustainability, that means we've probably had an unsustainable phase. There has been this global argument that while Europe, America were developing, were evolving, they developed based on the fossil fuel part. They're burning coal, they're burning the hydrocarbons. And here we are, Nigeria. This is now the time for us to move into that development. We are now saying, hey, don't go there.
But must we take the same steps?
I mean, definitely, we shouldn't take the same step, but we still need to put it properly because it doesn't make sense to the ordinary woman on the street. What we are talking about here, we are now at a very delicate phase of our lives. You see the flood when it comes in. We talk about climate change, global warming as a result of the way we have attempted to sabotage the natural environment, the ecosystem that God has given to us. So we've destroyed that
now
and we are now living with the reality. So in order for Nigeria to develop, the ideal is we don't need to go through the same route. You see, many of us today, many of our students, even in the university, some of them never saw the handheld telephone line that you have to run cable. They're using Android phones, that is smartphones today. They never had to see those old mobile phones. At the same time, in the next 10 years, we'll begin to see infiltration of electric vehicles powered by solar, powered by battery. So it does not mean that because I haven't bought a car today, I must buy a petrol-powered car before I experience.
People who are buying cars now are not sticking to, oh, we all started with manual, so we must stick to manual. People are buying automatic cars.
Thank you. We're using automatic. So that is the same narrative. That is the same thing that we need to understand, that the future we are going into is a future that we must face with courage. We must face it with boldness. We need leaders that can actually interpret and tell us what the future looks like. And that is why I'm passionate about talking to young people, because this is the future that the older people will not be part of. And they are chatting or they are holding us back from birthing it. So the fourth industrial revolution, we arrive. And when it arrives, if we are still thinking about exploring our oil, you see the US, they are shutting down different plants, shutting down different exploration. So likewise, Nigeria as well should be looking into the future. That is renewable and sustainable.
You talked about looking into the future, and the federal government has been talking about diversification. They've been looking a lot in the area of agriculture. I know you do have some interactions with farmers, and you've helped them through some of your inventions, and like the solar-powered fridges and preservators. Can you give us practical examples of how you've been able to impact and improve the business of farmers in the agri sector?
Yes, thank you so much. We're looking at a sustainable world in the green economy. We had unsustainable brown economy, and a lot of metrics will be changing, a lot of things will be moving so fast, even beyond the way we have budgeted or we've planned nationally. If care is not taken, we'll just be walking backwards. So we are talking about inequality here. Inequality is when you have poor farmers on the farm field, farming night and day, under the sun, under the rain. At the end of the day, when they produce this perishable like our lettuce, our fruit, cucumber, tomato, and the likes, you found out that when they don't have access to the market, what happens after a few days? It goes bad because they don't have the technology that can actually help them to preserve it, to extend the shelf life. And here you see Mr. Gbenga from Lagos wheel his truck down to Kano, pack all the tomato in a refrigerated van, move it, spend like 3 days on the road, come to Lagos Mile 12, sell for an astronomical rate, but then the Alaji or the woman that did the farming, the work, that toil nights and day, that had kids that are sick, people to take care of, extended families that is dependent on her, she couldn't take care of them. So at the end of the day, you pay meager to the farmer. However, the middlemen, business people make more money. We believe that that is not sustainable. It's unfair for us to continue to live that way. That's the reason why Go Solar Africa actually invented, made in Nigeria, refrigeration system that is, farmers don't even need to acquire it. So it's a fantastic business model that will be deployed into farm settlement, into market areas to extend that shelf life of what they have produced. So they can decide to sell at the rate, at the right price that will enable them to also move themselves out of poverty.
That's fantastic work you're doing. Well done.
Thank you.
Now, beyond this initiative, you also have the CCN. Tell us about CCN.
Yeah, Carbon Credit Network, that is the CCN. Carbon credit is an offshoot of the United Nations Convention on Climate Change. And it was propounded many years ago, 1999, when Nigeria also ratified that treaty. It's just a market-based approach to helping countries or globally to lower the amount of carbon emission that is actually affecting us today. That's why we have the flood.
The treaty the United States of America just pulled
the Paris Agreement. Yeah, the Paris Agreement that they just pulled out of. However, we're still stronger together because we have more countries today, nearing over 200 countries in the world that have ratified that same treaty. So Nigeria also had our own share. So UNFCCC under that program said that, okay, we're going to take resources from developed nations, those ones that develop based on hydrocarbon, and set it aside as a carbon fund for the developing country like Nigeria. Now we are saying we should not tap oil anymore. So there is investment set aside by the UN for Nigeria to leapfrog our own development. So we want to invest in new road, hospitals, we want to invest in technology, education. There is fund there that we can connect because the impact of development in the United States that actually caused our own deprivation and poverty.
You mentioned also about the cars, the electric
vehicle cars.
How possible is that? I know that most of the time we're talking about the emissions of gases. I remember when Volkswagen had that problem about failing the emissions test, and everybody was clamoring on the fact that, look, it's affecting the climate, it's affecting the economy. Is it possible that we would ever get to that point where they say, you know, all these cars, their emissions are affecting our economy, they're affecting the climate.
UK,
let's have
Norway,
electric cars.
France.
Here in Nigeria, I'm talking of in Nigeria.
All of them. In Nigeria, we just set up an assembly plant also in Nigeria, starting with those vehicles, those moving vehicles to support the poor people, running only on battery and solar PVs with different situated charging ports. This is no rocket science, actually. So the new green economy and the sustainable future that we are already into today will not be powered by hydrocarbon anymore. Is gone. So we are talking about the fourth industrial revolution. This fourth industrial revolution, which is the green economy, will be driven likely by technology. And technology at the center of that, whereby you can run a TV station right from your bedroom and broadcast. We have the YouTubes and the online stations today that people don't even have to buy TV set anymore. You can actually do all your banking transaction on mobile phone. You don't need to go to the bank. All these changes, how prepared is Nigeria? Our policy, how courageous are we to begin to encourage young people to participate? That is the new green economy. So in the next 10 years, like I earlier said, you'll be amazed that Nigeria might contribute out of the fleet that you see on the road, about 1 or 2% will be contributed for by electric vehicle. Wow. We already have that here, and it's no brainer that is the time that we need to begin to chart that path.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us on this very insightful conversation we've had with you. And I'm sure there might be some farmers, there are people who are looking diversifying into agriculture. You know, people sit at home and they're making money with their cash in farms. And this technology you're starting up is something very, very brilliant. There are people who might want to use it, you know, to be able to preserve their crops. How can people reach out to you? Yeah,
basically, we have our website, actually. I think that is the fastest way that you can reach us. So we have smefunds.com. You can go to Go Solar Africa, gosolarafrica.org, or you can just Google our company name on YouTube, on Google. You can just get some of these technology and these solutions, or if you want to partner, you want to work with us, or you want us to begin to address some issues together, like the clean cook stoves. In Nigeria, close to 100,000 women die every day because of cooking with dirty fuels.
And in fact, this is a conversation we cannot finish.
Exactly.
We'd like to have you here again. And this time around, we're going to be talking to the ordinary everyday man about how they can help themselves and the environment. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with Femi Oye. He is the CEO and co-founder of SME Funds and also a recipient of the World Youth Leaders Award. We're going on a break. When we come back, Nnamdi will be here to review the Hungarian Grand Prix.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love her.